There are moments in golf when the loudest thing in the room isn't a quote, or a press conference, or even a championship roar. Sometimes it's silence. And right now, that silence around Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and new PGA Tour boss Brian Rolapp might be saying more than any headline ever could. Because on the surface, everything looks calm. Rolapp steps in with big ideas. Rory speaks his mind, like he always does. Tiger stays measured, careful, almost unreadable. But if you look closer, something feels different. Something feels like a shift, not a shouting match, not open rebellion. Something more subtle, more powerful. The kind of move that changes the future of the tour without anyone needing to slam a fist on the table. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. Because this may not be about choosing Tiger sides in public. It may be about Tiger quietly telling the golf world what kind of PGA Tour he still believes in. And if that belief lines up more with Rory than with the corporate vision taking shape around Rolapp, then this story is bigger than people realize. If you truly love golf, if this game means something to you, and if you enjoy stories that go deeper than the headlines, then subscribe and become part of this golf family. Because golf is more than scores and trophies. It's people, pressure, legacy, and the moments that quietly change everything. Now let's start with the part that makes this so interesting. Brian Rolapp did not walk into a normal job. He walked into one of the most delicate moments modern golf has ever seen. The PGA Tour has been trying to protect tradition, fight off disruption, keep fans engaged, satisfy stars, satisfy rank-and-file players, and somehow still look unified while the entire business model of pro golf keeps shifting under its feet. That is not a simple handoff. That is walking onto a fault line. And Rory McIlroy, for years, has been right in the middle of that fault line. Love him or criticize him, one thing you cannot say about Rory is that he hides. He speaks, sometimes too quickly, sometimes too honestly, sometimes in ways that make people uncomfortable. But that's also why fans listen when he talks about the future of the game. Because even when he changes his stance, you still feel like you're hearing a real person wrestling with real frustration. But here's the part nobody talks about. Rory's value to the PGA Tour has never just been in birds and trophies. It's been in his readiness to say what a lot of people are thinking before they're ready to say it themselves. And that matters here. Because when changes to the tour structure started getting discussed more seriously, Rory didn't exactly sound like a man ready to clap for every new idea. He took a shot at the concept of the second track. He questioned the direction, and whether you agreed with his wording or not, the message underneath it was clear. If the PGA Tour starts feeling like a system instead of a stage, fans will feel it too. If the stars are separated from the soul of competition, people will notice. If golf gets too engineered, too packaged, too corporate, something precious gets lost. Now think about Tiger Woods for a second. Tiger understands modern sports business as well as anyone alive. He knows television. He knows leverage. He knows brand power. He knows the difference between tradition and stagnation. But more than that, Tiger knows what makes people care. He knows why millions stopped what they were doing just to watch one man walk up a fairway. It wasn't spreadsheets. It wasn't structure charts. It was meaning. It was stakes. It was identity. It was belief. And this is where everything has changed. Because Tiger didn't come out breathing fire against Rolapp. He didn't have to. In public, he welcomed him. He praised him. That part matters. But Tiger also stepped into a position where he would help shape the next era of the tour. That matters even more. Once Tiger starts helping design the future, every quiet move becomes louder than a quote. Every priority becomes a message. So the real question is not, did Tiger attack Brian Rolapp? He didn't. The real question is, when the future of the PGA Tour gets built, whose instincts does Tiger seem closer to? And the answer might be more revealing than fans think. Because Rory's warning was never just about one format idea. It was about the identity of the tour. What are we preserving? What are we risking? What are we trying to become? Are we building something better for fans? Or are we just rearranging the same product in a more marketable way? That tension is real. And for all of Rory's flaws, he has a feel for when the game is drifting toward image over substance. Wait till you hear what happened next, because this is where the story becomes less about conflict and more about power. Rory later spoke positively about Rolapp after talking with him. That's important. It tells you this is not some cartoon war where everyone picks a corner and starts throwing punches. Golf is more complicated than that. Relationships in this sport always exist. Respect can exist alongside disagreement. Hope can exist alongside skepticism. And that's exactly why this story has weight. Because the drama here is not fake. It's human. Rory may like Rolapp. Tiger may respect Rolapp. But that doesn't erase the deeper issue. The issue is what kind of PGA Tour emerges from this moment. A player-driven one? A fan-first one? A top-heavy spectacle? A two-lane system that feels modern but risks creating distance between the elite and everyone else? Those are not small details. That is the future of professional golf. And if Tiger quietly leans toward protecting competitive meaning, protecting merit, protecting the feeling that every big event still matters in a real and organic way, then yes, in a deeper sense, he may be backing Rory's core concern. That's the bombshell. Not that Tiger and Rory are suddenly best friends in a boardroom revolution. Not that Rolapp is the villain. Not that one conversation changed everything overnight. It's that the most respected figure in modern golf may be signaling, without the theaters, that the tour cannot afford to lose its soul while trying to win the future. And golf fans know exactly what that means. Because we've all felt it before. We've all watched a tournament that looked big on paper, but felt empty. We've all seen moments where golf felt overproduced instead of unforgettable. And we've also seen the opposite. We've seen Sundays that reminded us why this sport is different. Why one shot can carry history. Why one leaderboard can feel like a movie. Why one player walking through pressure can make everything else disappear. That feeling is what's on the line here. And that's why Rory's voice matters even when it annoys people. That's why Tiger's silence matters even when he says very little. That's why Rolapp's challenge is so enormous even if his ideas sound smart. Because golf fans are not just buying a product. They're protecting an emotion. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. The PGA Tour probably does need change. It does need sharper storytelling. It does need a structure that makes sense to modern fans. It does need urgency. It does need innovation. Rory knows that. Tiger definitely knows that. Rolapp certainly knows that. The fight is not over whether change should happen. The fight is over what must never be sacrificed in the process. And maybe that is why this story feels bigger than one title, one quote, or one executive hire. It feels like a test of whether golf can evolve without losing itself. A test of whether player voices still truly matter. A test of whether the legends of the game will quietly protect the values that made the tour worth loving in the first place. And maybe, just maybe, that's where Tiger's role becomes most important. Not as a headline machine, not as a symbolic figure standing in the back of the room, but as the one person who knows what greatness looks like when the entire sport bends around it. If Tiger sees something in Rory's concern, even partially, that should get everyone's attention. Because Tiger has lived the cost of carrying golf into the future. He knows what fans hold on to. He knows what they will never forgive the sport for losing. So when people ask whether Tiger Woods quietly backed Rory McIlroy against Brian Rolapp, maybe the honest answer is this. Not in the cheap, dramatic way some people want, but in the deeper way that actually matters, maybe yes. Maybe Tiger's influence is less about attacking a man and more about defending a principle. Defending the idea that the PGA Tour has to remain a place where meaning comes first, where competition still feels earned, where stars matter, but the game more matters. And that is why stories like this matter. Because this isn't only about Tiger, or Rory, or Rolapp. It's about what kind of golf world we want to watch 5 years from now. A cleaner, louder, more polished version of the sport? Or a smarter future that still respects what made fans fall in love with it in the first place? That's the question hanging over all of this. And honestly, that's why this moment feels so important. Because long after the press conferences are forgotten, long after the talking points fade, golf fans will remember one thing. Who fought to protect the heartbeat of the game? So what do you think? Is Tiger quietly sending a message here? Or are fans reading too much into the silence? Drop your take in the comments, and if you believe golf deserves coverage that respects both the emotion and the truth of this game, stay with the channel. We've got a lot more